morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming this morning. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the more basic principles of sitting meditation, and also some of the most profound. So we're going to move from A to Z today, from a kind of basic to a very advanced, and I think you can all keep up. And what I want to start with is I'd like to know from you, and I'm particularly curious from those younger folks, meaning, well, you're all young, but under 25, we just make that the criteria. What are some of the things that you like right now in your life? What are things that interest you? What are things that motivate you? Yes, sir.
Sports.
Sports. Okay. And what is it about sports that you like?
They're exciting.
Exciting. Okay. So part of the thing that you like are things that are exciting, like sports. Okay. Anybody else?
Kid.
What is it?
Kid.
Your kid, your child. Wow. Under 25, you got a child already. Wonderful.
You are 24, that's
Yeah. Oh yeah, well then you're old. Not really. Of course, your child. I bet your child's the love of your life. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing like having a child, is there? And they always remain your child. Mine's 24 and 21. What else? What do you like? What interests you? What motivates you? Yes?
Things that invoke a sense of challenge and passion. Things that like kind of scare me but round me up, like traveling in big cities and
Okay, so things that challenge you, that inspire you, that, what was the other one? Passion, that you're passionate about. Very good. Actually, you just hit on two of the principles that I'm writing for my new book. Yeah, challenge and passion. Yeah. Thank you. You're not young. I didn't mean young acting. Yes.
Things that I've never experienced before.
Okay, so things that you've never experienced before. So new experiences motivate you. Yeah, new experiences. Anybody else? Yes.
I think the hope that I can be useful to the world.
Okay, beautiful. The hope that I can be useful in the world. Right. That's another theme that I'm writing about. Yeah. This is all for my book.
like intensity. Intense experiences.
Okay, intense experiences, intensity. Yeah, beautiful. What is it about intensity that really motivates you or turns you on?
I don't know.
Do you think it's because you can get into it?
Yeah, it's really engaging.
Engaging, that's the right word. Engaging, something that engages you. And my guess is engages you in a complete way.
Yeah.
So what is it that is such a gift or turn on for us about being engaged in something completely? Think about that for a minute. What is it that's so beautiful about being engaged completely? Yes, sir.
You can lose yourself.
That's
Lose the word.
That's exactly
At that
it.
moment, it also, if you help you someone, it gives you a sense of value.
Exactly. Right on. So you can lose yourself. You can go into that engagement completely, lose yourself in that. You see, there's something about losing ourselves by being fully engaged and then receiving value, particularly like you said, if you're sharing that or working with others or helping others. Yeah, that's another principle. Yeah, very good. Now, we could say that that's exactly what Zen is. We have a word for it in Japanese. It's called shikan. So when we get completely involved in something, engaged in something, we are just doing that. So there's a word for meditation that's we consider to be the purest and most genuine form of meditation, which is when we're completely involved in just sitting. We're engaged in that process. Now, maybe that's the hardest thing to get engaged in. And that's why the fruits of it, the results of it, are universal. In other words, if you can get into sitting completely engage yourself in the process of meditation, what happens is that affects your entire life. It's kind of like being at the center of a wheel and the spokes going out in all directions. When you get to that center point of the wheel and engage completely in that event or that thing and lose yourself in it, then the center of that wheel becomes like a hub which is empty. And that then manifests in every aspect of your life. So whether it's involved with other people or work or play or whatever you're doing, conversation, listening, speaking, that you are fully engaged in what you're doing. See, when we engage in other things out there on more of the rim of the wheel, like music or sports or whatever it is we're engaging in, it will have that effect in that particular thing, area. But it may not have that same effect throughout your life. But in meditation, somehow it does. When you can completely lose yourself in the meditation. Okay? Anybody else?
It's like it turns all your senses completely on.
That's right. It's like throwing the switch. That's right. It turns all your senses. So your 6 senses, you know, in the West we have 5 senses. In the East we have 6. Okay? Not that we really have an extra sense in Zen, it's just that we count the mind as one of those senses. We count the mind as a sense organ. So this brings me to the next part of what I want to do. And if you've never been here before, just follow along. You'll pick it up real fast because most of the people know how to do this already. And it's very simple. I'm going to ask to speak to a very specific aspect of you. And then when I ask to speak to that aspect, would you please shift to where that aspect is, and wherever you shift is where it is. Okay, it's no rocket science. And then speak as that voice or that aspect. So I want to speak to the thinker. I want to speak to the thinker. Okay? So you are the thinker. Okay, that shouldn't be so hard. You're the thinker. So would you tell me something about you as the thinker? Start real simple. What do you do? Yeah.
There's got to be meaning to all of this.
There's got to be meaning. Okay, so the first thing, let me backtrack slightly. What everybody said is, I think, and I'm looking for meaning in all of this, right? As the thinker, there's got to be meaning. So I'm looking for meaning. You following that? I'm looking for meaning.
I never stop.
All right. As the thinker, I never stop what? Thinking. Okay, and now this is really important. If you want to go deeper in your life and find more fulfillment and more success in your life, what you have to realize is, as the thinker, I never stop thinking. And you're not going to stop me thinking. There isn't anything anybody can do that's going to stop me from thinking as a thinker. Now, why is that? What?
It's supposed to think, that your thinker thinks.
Okay, I'm the thinker, and I think. It's my job. It's my job to think. I'm being paid, not very well, but I'm being paid to think. Now, I do get some pay. What are the forms of pay as the thinker? What's the payoff? Yeah.
Sometimes there are moments of clarity.
Okay, all right, beautiful. Sometimes there are just moments of clarity. That's a payoff. Yeah.
Gratification.
Okay, and sometimes there's real gratification as the thinker. I feel really gratified in my process of thinking and what I think about. I get diplomas. That's right, I get diplomas. I'm the one who is able to receive a diploma.
Sometimes I actually come up with a solution.
All right, and there are times, not very often in my case, but there are times when I actually do come up with a solution. So sometimes as the thinker, it's very gratifying for me because I actually find solutions. Yeah.
Sometimes I think too much, so it can be overwhelming.
All right, so sometimes I find myself thinking so much that it's overwhelming for who? For you or the thinker or for
the thinker.
For you too?
For me also, yeah, for me.
Okay, how about for the self too?
Self.
All right, okay, we're doing something very important here. We just took a step that looks like a baby step, but it was a huge leap. Okay? As the thinker, sometimes I am overwhelming for the self. Now, the moment I make, did you see what I just did here? What she helped us do? What did you help us do? Make what?
Yeah, transition into a transition.
That's right. You helped us make a transition. And the transition is now not being so identified as the self. Because as the thinker, who do you think you are? The self. You follow that? Yeah.
And the other night, the thinker would not shut up.
Wait, you're the thinker.
The other night, I would not shut up. And the self was trying to find the voice that would shut me up.
Right.
It's hilarious.
She'll do that.
I was looking at
That's what we're getting at. That's the very point we're getting at. Yes, sir.
As a thinker, what do they want from you?
What do they want from me? And why do they want me to shut up? Well, I guess it's true that I am sometimes overwhelming for the self. And the self sometimes is looking for what? Somebody new. Tell me what the self sometimes is looking for, and I don't allow it to find that. Okay, a reprieve from me. Sometimes the self is looking for a reprieve from me, a holiday, a vacation, from me, the thinker, in order to find what? Peace. Now, do you see how you have all the wisdom? If the questions are right, if we ask the right questions, you already know all the answers. All the wisdom of the ages, whether it be the Kabbalah, or be Zen, or be Tantric Buddhism, or Tibetan Buddhism, or whether it be any form of Christianity or Judaism, or any of the world great religions, or spirituality, all that has been discovered, you already know. We just have to uncover it. It's kind of like there's gold under your house, but you never thought to dig it up. You didn't know it was there. And you can live on it your whole entire life. You can live on the richest vein of gold your entire life and die poor because you didn't know it was there and you never dug it up. This is what happens to people. We grow old and we die and we never realize that the entire life we missed just what's below the surface because we somehow live on the surface. We somehow just skim the surface and we never dig just a few feet down. Okay? So where were we?
As a thinker, I think my thoughts are real.
Okay, very, very, very good. Okay? As the thinker, I think my thoughts are real. That's exactly right. I believe my thoughts are real. Now, what does that create? By thinking my thoughts are real. First of all, I think that's reality. So what's that? My first mistake. Okay, that's a big one.
It creates attachment to your thoughts.
That's right. Okay, so first thing is, when I think, and I do think, and we all take this for granted, that my thoughts are real, then it creates this illusion, okay, that my thoughts are real, and I become, or I am, it's not become, I am attached to my thoughts. So then, let's take it a step further. I have a good thought. What do I feel? Good. I have a creative thought. What do I feel? Creative. I have a negative thought. How do I feel? Bad. I have a bad thought. Terrible. I have an evil thought. Then I feel evil. Then, what's the next step? Yeah, come on in. The water's warm. So then what's the next step? I think, what?
Therefore I am.
Therefore I am. Are you getting this? This is really basic stuff, but it's pretty profound. Okay? So, because I have a negative or even bad or even evil thought, I think, therefore I am evil. Now, what do we do in our culture if I think I'm evil? I'm going to punish myself or act it out. Yeah, act it out. So I'm going to do one of two things. There's a few other things I might do. Okay, one of the things I might do is punish myself for it. And how do I do that? How do I beat myself up? How do you beat yourself up if you have a so-called evil thought?
Guilt.
Okay, you feel guilt and you judge yourself. Okay? You see how you know it already? You feel judgmental about yourself. You feel guilty about that. Do you share those thoughts with the world?
Projected.
You don't share them, you project them. What?
Energetically.
Yeah, well, you project it, period. Energetically, emotionally, everywhere. You project it. So you project it out onto the world. Do you see this happening in our culture, in our society? Where instead of owning the evil thought and seeing, that's not me, I have a thought that I label evil. It's just a thought. That's the key point. It's just a thought. I then label it evil. I don't want to own it, so I project it out. So wherever I look, I see good and evil. I divide the world up into good and evil. Now, that doesn't have any ramifications, of course. Am I right? No. No, it has worldwide ramifications. It has huge ramifications.
Oftentimes, rejection displays.
That's right.
It displays on someone innocent.
That's right. That projection is displaced on someone else who is innocent or at least not guilty. None of us are innocent, but at least not guilty of that projection. That projection is mine that I am projecting out. Yeah.
As a thinker, I get stuck in ruts, and I go kind of in circles,
Okay.
and I can't get out.
All right. So as the thinker, I get stuck in certain ruts, and I go round and round and round in those ruts. Okay? And I get stuck there. Anybody else? Yes.
But I can also lift myself up by thinking of something pleasant.
Okay, so the way I get out of feeling bad and negative about myself is I think of something pleasant. Then I lift myself out of that negative place, and then the next time I have a negative or evil thought, I'm back down there. So what we want to do is we want to see that before the thought is labeled as good or evil, what is it? It's just a thought. That's all it is. It's just a thought. Now, would you label bubbles that come to the surface of the water good or bad?
Good.
So all of them are good. All of them are good, right? But you wouldn't label any of them bad, would you? No. So all thoughts would be equal. Okay? So you could say all thoughts are good, or you can just say all thoughts are just thoughts, and all bubbles are just bubbles. Now, a bubble is filled with what? What's it filled with? Air. So the bubble itself is, yeah, empty.
No,
Air.
like this is the thinker, I feel like you're not very respectful of me.
All right, so she just helped us move to the next step. She's saying, as the thinker, I'm finding this disconcerting. You're not being very respectful of me because you're making me feel that I am
Full of hot air.
what?
Full of hot air.
Full of hot air. Interesting.
And as the thinker, I think that I'm the self. So that would mean I'm not the self.
Oh my God.
And I think I'm the most important.
That's
Everything
right.
I'm most important.
That's right. That's right. As the thinker, I think that I am the most important, and I am the self. And you make me feel like I am somehow filled with hot air or insignificant, and I don't like that. Now, I'm right now playing the evil one, right? And doing that. When you're sitting in meditation and you begin, as you're sitting there as the thinker, and the self begins to see through your illusion, what happens? Who do you make the evil one then? Or what do you make evil then?
The thinker, teacher.
No, the teacher's still. Still the teacher, okay.
As the thinker, when the self is doing, then I think the self's evil.
Okay. Then I think it's the self. And I think the self is tricking me into some kind of cult or some kind of weird trip, right? And that meditation is a bad thing. As the thinker, you don't particularly like meditation, I don't think.
I like it.
You like it as a thinker? Because it gives you what?
It gives me a break from myself, or my thinking self. It gives me a break.
Okay, but then you're not speaking as a thinker. You're speaking as the self.
Yeah, because the thinker gets tired.
Okay, so, but you're still not speaking as the thinker. You're using third person. The thinker gets tired. I, as the thinker, get tired. Okay? And the self would like a break. Okay? Because as the thinker, what I do most naturally is what? Think. Okay? And this exhausts the self sometimes. It's very exhausting. No break for me. Yeah.
I find my thinker wants to control myself.
Well, you're not speaking as a thinker either.
I want to control myself and stay in the forefront. I don't want to get into myself.
That's right.
Get into the self.
That's right. That's exactly right. As the thinker, I want to stay in the forefront. That allows me to substantiate that I am real, that I am important, that I am genuine. Yes.
I'm afraid that if I'm not in the forefront as the thinker, then I'm going to make a bad decision.
Okay. I have a lot of fear that if I'm not in the forefront, that there's going to be a bad decision made by her. Now, what is it that you're afraid she's going to rely on if not you thinking? Someone else, or
Some other part.
some other part of herself.
I can't even fathom that there is something she can
rely on that.
That's right. That's why you're afraid, because I can't even fathom there's anything else that she can rely on besides me. All right, so if we're creating, and this, again, if you're new, you won't follow this quite, but you'll catch on. If we're creating a base or triangle here, so we're creating a triangle, and what we've been talking to is the thinker over here at this side of the triangle. I'm going to ask now to speak to the voice that's over here on this side of the triangle, and I'm going to call you the not thinking mind. The not thinking mind. Okay? Let me speak to the not thinking mind. You're the not thinking mind. So who are you?
Not thinking mind.
Okay, you're the not thinking mind. Okay, let's just sit with this and see who in the world you are if you're not thinking. Now you might watch the thinker do its thing, think, but you're the not thinker. Let's just sit with this for a moment. For some, this might be new. This requires a little focus. You're the not thinker. You don't think. Okay, so if you're the not thinker, tell me about you. Yes?
I don't get out much.
All right, I don't get out much. What's it like right now, getting out?
It's peaceful.
Feels peaceful. Good.
As a not thinker, I feel like I'm not attached.
Okay, she just said, as the not thinker, I feel like I'm not attached. That's absolutely correct. I'm not attached to what?
To myself or
To myself or to
my thoughts.
my thoughts. See, again, even the not thinker identifies the thought, the thinking, the thinker, and the self as one. Okay? So, I'm not attached to the thoughts and I'm not attached to the self as the not thinker. What does that offer? The self, yes.
Relaxation.
Absolutely. Relaxation. A lot, huh? Yes.
Freedom.
Freedom. Absolutely. So you offer relaxation, freedom. What else do you offer?
Hearing birds.
All of a sudden I can hear the birds chirping.
I can appreciate.
And I can appreciate. Remember we said something about being more attentive. I am more awake, I am more aware, I am more attentive as the not thinker than the thinker. Interesting.
I offer space between the words.
Okay, I offer space between the words. I offer space.
And I offer a more like objective view of my thoughts.
All right, isn't that interesting? I offer a more objective view of my thoughts. So you have thoughts. You're the not thinker, but you do have thoughts, but you are, I'm not the thoughts. You just what?
You just see it.
You just see them. You just witness them. You observe them. Somebody had a hand up here.
I just know.
Okay. I am the state of I just am. I am the state of I amness. I am the state of being. Remember I mentioned the word shikan, means just or only. This is the state of shikan taza, means just sitting. Just sitting. Just being. I am just sitting. I just am. I'm not
I'm not in a hurry. I
I'm
don't
not-
have to think about what I'm going to do next. I don't have to worry about what just happened. I just am.
I just am. I don't have to think, I don't have to worry, I don't have to worry about the future or the past or whatever. I just am. Yes, sir.
I can enjoy my feelings.
All right, I can enjoy my feelings, my senses. Yeah.
It it all becomes this really wonderful movie that I'm just walking along in.
Okay, he just said it all becomes this wonderful movie that I'm just
Watch it go.
just watching it. So all these thoughts are kind of like a movie coming across the screen, and I'm just observing them. I'm just watching it. I'm not so caught up or attached to them. Therefore, I'm not so attached to the outcome. I'm not so attached to the outcome. I can enjoy the movie, but I'm not so attached to the outcome. Yes?
I'm unencumbered, but the thinker stresses me out.
Okay. I am unencumbered, but the thinker stresses me out. That's right.
I'm effortless, nothing to do.
Okay. He said I'm effortless and I have nothing to do and no place to go.
It was interesting. Last night our neighbor got a dog, a little puppy, and I was watching this dog lay on its back in the grass and just kind of flail its paws around. It kind of seems like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Kind of seems like that. All right. So what he said, which again is very important, there's no judgment. Yes?
I can have emotions without trying to figure out why I'm happy.
All right. Isn't this amazing? This is really amazing. I can have emotions, and I'm not trying to figure out why, or how to work with them, or even how to get rid of them. I can just have them. So what about thoughts? Same thing. I just have them. So I can just have thoughts. I'm not so tied up or encumbered or stressed out by the thoughts. What else is true as the not thinker?
As the not thinker, I create space for new possibility.
Okay. Say that again. I create space and possibility. Is that what you said?
I create space for
Oh,
new
space
possibility.
for new possibilities. That's right. I create the potential and the space for all kinds of new possibility, which could be very creative.
I see the links and everything, and most of the time it's very funny.
Okay, so I can see the links in everything, and sometimes it's very funny. Okay. Yes?
I'm not afraid of it. I'm not threatened or afraid.
All right, I'm not threatened, and I'm not afraid of what comes up. Now, is this a big one? Think about someone who's ill or dying, and how much fear for them comes up, or when we're in that situation. And if you are in the space of the not thinker, there's no fear. You're able to watch, you're able to witness the various thoughts, the various feelings, the various emotions, the various sensations, all kinds of things, desires, attachments, addictions. You're able to witness these things, but you're not attached to them. And you're not attached to the outcome. So you're able to truly step back and be more objective, as someone said.
To be or not to be?
Yeah.
That is.
That's it. That's it. Yes.
Okay. I'm speaking as the self.
Why? Why would you do that?
To try to make this more useful in my daily life.
Okay. Can you wait until we move to the third part of the triangle? Okay. Because that's where we're going.
It feels like the more that I experience this, the more a lie is kind of dispelled, and that lie is that existence is the thinkingness, that existence cannot be beyond that, and existence is so much more.
Could everybody hear her? I'm afraid that you might not be able to. And I don't know if I can repeat it all, but the more that I am this, the more, and this is a good reason for sitting, okay, is the more I am this, the more I can see the lie of that. Okay, and it frees me. Okay, you have another one.
As the non-thinking self, I feel very fragile, so the thinking part of me doesn't allow
That's right.
hard to
Okay,
very often.
so as the not thinker, I feel fragile because the thinker doesn't allow space for me. It turns out, though, quite the contrary. You're not fragile at all. It's just that she doesn't have access to you enough. But you're not fragile because are you and have you been born as the not thinker? Let her answer. Have you been born?
I don't know.
Okay, that's a good answer. I don't know. Look and see. Look and see as the not thinker when you were born. Just take some time and look and see if you can find a beginning, a birth. You can't, can you? What do you think then? As a
That I
non-thinker?
existed before the thinker did.
That's exactly right. This is an old Zen koan. What was your original face before your parents were born? You, the not thinker, existed before the thinker was born. You've always been. Therefore, you will. That's it.
Always be.
Yeah, that makes you what?
Powerful.
Powerful, yeah. And what else?
Eternal.
Can you see it? The word? What is it?
Kind of timeless.
Timeless. Eternal. Timeless. See, this is your true self. It's eternal and it's timeless and it doesn't have any fear. Now, what can harm you, this not thinker? What can harm you or hurt you in any way, shape, or form? Nothing. So does that make you vulnerable? No. No. In fact, vulnerability is kind of an odd word because when you really are completely one with being vulnerable, you have no borders. And when you have no borders, nothing can hurt you. So vulnerable turns out to be the most complete invulnerable. Kind of a paradox. All right, so here we have you, the not thinker, and here we have the thinker. I'm going to ask in a moment to speak to the apex of this triangle, to the third point of the triangle. And I'm going to say that you are the one who actually embraces, includes thinker and not thinker, thinking and not thinking. Got that? And you transcend and you include them both. So you include thinking and not thinking. Let me speak to the apex. Okay, you are? Okay, so what do you include? Thinking and not thinking, and you transcend them both. You go beyond them both. Let's just sit for this, with this for a moment. So it makes thinking okay, not thinking okay. Moving back and forth between thinking and not thinking okay. There's no preference here for one over the other.
What is it, learning when to think and when not to think?
Say that again?
Is that what we're doing, learning when to think and when to...
We're going to get to that. We'll get to that. Right now, we're just being the space that includes both. Okay? Because this is very liberating. You have no preference for one over the other. For thinking over not thinking, for not thinking over thinking. No preference. See what it's like to not have a preference for your thinking or not thinking, or towards it.
The outcome remains the same.
Say that again, please.
The outcome remains the same.
The outcome remains the same, whether you're thinking or not thinking. Yes?
I can be vulnerable and be attached, but realize I don't have to be attached.
Okay, so I can be vulnerable, I can be attached, and I also can realize I don't have to. So what does that offer you?
Peace.
Peace. What else?
Freedom.
Freedom.
Choice.
Choice. Peace, freedom, and choice this offers you. That you can be this or that. And you have the freedom, you have peace, and you have choice here. Yeah.
I can appreciate the fragility of life and at the same time know that when the thinker dies, the non-thinker continues.
Okay, very well said. I can appreciate the fragility of life and know that when the thinker dies, I, as the non-thinker, am eternal.
So you answered my question from last week.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
As the apex, I'm an infinite, unconditional container.
That's exactly right. I am the infinite and unconditional container for what is, and I am also what is. I'm all of it. I'm all the above.
This is a place where I can exercise will.
Okay, this is the place where I can exercise will determined by objectivity, balance, what was the last one? Moderation, wisdom, compassion, responsibility. This is the place that I can be responsible for what? This life, this self, this life. Anybody here, or not anybody, everybody here see what I'm saying? From this place, I can be responsible for this life. And I can make choices. I have the freedom to make choices from this place as the apex. Now, I also see from this place, what about those choices? They have consequences. These choices that I make have consequences. Now, it's not a matter of good or bad, right or wrong. They have consequences. Okay? And so these consequences, I am responsible for. Nobody else. I'm making choices at every moment of my day. I'm making choices all the time. Now, when I'm from this place, I'm aware that I'm doing that. When I'm over here, guess what? I'm oblivious. It feels to me like when I'm over here, it's all happening to me. And then I get caught in another voice called the victim.
At the apex, it's very easy for me to see the thinker on that side.
Would you speak louder?
Yes, it seems like the thinker sometimes doesn't want responsibility.
Exactly.
It doesn't want freedom, and it will attach to external answers from
authorities.
Yes, this is good, this is bad, it's the devil that made me think that, or what stuff like that. And it's easy to see
and she wears Prada.
Where people get trapped in external things that make people get stuck there.
That's exactly right. I don't know if you could hear him. He's saying, from this place, I have a view, a perspective, that over here, it looks like things make me do these things. And I don't take responsibility. I don't own responsibility. Now, one of the things that happens here is there is a voice, I've been writing about it this morning. There's a voice called the voice that seeks power. It also seeks fame, wealth, and all those other things. Now, when this voice that seeks power is disowned, from this place, when you look at that aspect of the self that seeks power, what do you see happens? Now, I want somebody new, somebody who's not been here very long. What happens when this voice is disowned?
You become empowered.
What?
You become empowered.
No, you don't become empowered.
You become a follower.
You might become a follower. What?
Put the power on someone.
All right, you give it away. Okay, this is really important. This is real important. When this voice over here that seeks power is not owned by you, This is you, the apex. Okay? What's not owned by you, it will give that power away. It will project it onto others. And then feel what? Powerless. It will feel powerless and like a victim. Are you getting this? When it is disowned. So now as the apex, can you own that power? All right, well, let me speak to that power as the apex. Let me speak to that voice of power as the apex. Not as the limited self, not as the thinker, but as the apex. Let me speak to that voice of power. You are held by the apex. So speak to me as power. Okay, say it again.
I'm confused.
No, I'm not asking for the one who seeks power. Because if you're seeking power, that means you don't have it. As the one who is power, held by the apex, the first thing that's true is I'm not thinking it any longer.
As the apex, outcomes are obvious to me because I understand that I set them in motion.
Okay, so outcomes are obvious to me because I understand I set them all in motion.
It wasn't somebody else that caused something to happen. I caused it.
All right, so I am able to take responsibility for my life, for actions and reactions. And what does this mean for the self? For you, the apex, yeah.
As the apex, life is a great thing.
Okay, life is a great thing. It's a gift, isn't it?
It's a gift.
And it's a treasure.
And I'm in control.
And I am in control. In fact, I'm the master.
I'm not afraid because my power doesn't fluctuate.
Okay, I'm not afraid because my power doesn't fluctuate in this place. What else is true for you as the voice of power coming from the apex?
I have faith that I'm going to do it all.
I have faith that I'm going to do it all. Okay.
I don't judge what I've done or what I will do.
All right. I'm not judging. I'm not judging what I have done or what I will do. There's not guilt attached. Isn't that amazing? There's no guilt.
And I take that responsibility very seriously. I use that power incredibly carefully.
Okay. I take it very seriously and I use it
with wisdom and skillful means.
And skillful means. Beautifully said.
And because I take responsibility, I feel good about the decisions I'm making. I feel good about myself.
Okay. Now, isn't this amazing? That it's actually possible to feel good about yourself? Isn't that mind-blowing? That you can actually feel good about yourself? Just think of all the things that are not necessary to do if you felt good about yourself.
I am everything and I'm capable of everything.
That's right. I am everything. I am capable of everything. Yes?
I want to empower others. I don't need to have
All right.
power over them.
You hit the fifth principle that I'm working on. I want to empower others. I'm all about empowering others. Yeah.
It feels kind of edgy because I don't know what's going to happen next.
All right. Okay. So from this place, I don't know what will be. Now, is that the truth? Do you really know what's going to be? No, you don't know. So you're living the truth. When you live as if the future is predictable, you're living what?
A lie.
A lie. You're living a lie. When you live not knowing, on that edge of not knowing what will be, you're living the truth. Now, is there a difference between living a lie and living the truth? Absolutely. That's the right word. Absolutely. Do you see what's possible for you? You know, if we just get today what's possible, it's just right there. When you can be the apex and what's possible for you, then there's no reason to ignore being awake or being conscious as a human being or even choosing this life as a human being.
I feel great about myself and also everyone around me.
All right.
They're incredible.
Beautiful.
Because even if they don't see it, they have that same power. And
Absolutely.
it's absolutely exquisite.
Isn't that beautiful? So not only can I feel good about myself, but everybody around me. In fact, everybody. What does that eliminate? A lot of shit. Bigotry, jealousy, hatred for whoever. What do you think about plants?
My life is a mystery that keeps me going.
All right, so from the apex, I see my life is a mystery, isn't it? And it keeps me going. And it's exciting. You know, from the apex, you never get bored. You never get bored. Now, what does this one do to avoid boredom? Think. Strategize. Yeah.
Like the Apex feels three-dimensional, where the other ones were like watching the movie or more flat.
Okay, more flat.
This is three-dimensional.
This is more three-dimensional.
And I'm in the middle of it.
Okay, let's just be the apex, folks. Let's just be the apex, where you can embrace thinking and not thinking. Go ahead.
As the apex, I'm the uncaused cause.
Okay, I'm the uncaused cause, yeah. And then I want us to sit for a minute.
As the apex, I'm writing the script.
Okay, I am writing the script every moment.
And starring in the movie.
And starring in my own movie. I am starring in my own movie, yes.
I choose.
That's right, I choose. All right, let's just sit as the apex for a minute. Just straighten your backs out, sit upright, and just sit as the apex for a minute. Just sit as the apex, including thinking and not thinking, and transcending them both. Yes.
But I'm in it, but I'm not in it. I'm objective. But I see it, but I try to understand it more objective. You know, it's like I'm outside, but at the same time, I'm in it. And I'm involved in my feelings.
That's right.
I get caught up in it.
I don't get caught up in it. I have both the objectivity and I'm able to be in it. So I'm able to just be whatever it is I'm doing, and yet I have the objectivity of seeing it. Yes?
I don't feel hindered or ashamed of the thoughts.
All right, so I'm no longer hindered, nor am I ashamed of the thoughts. Whatever thoughts come, it's quite all right.
I'm not hindered or ashamed of this body.
Okay, I'm no longer hindered nor ashamed of this body. Look how much of this voice over here, the thinker, spends ashamed and not liking this body. Or the reverse, being so attached to it, and then judging it. I remember there was now almost 5 years ago that body weight and body fat were for one day exactly what I wanted. It lasted a day, and then it was off again. So there was a day when the scale and body fat were exactly to the point. Now, how many days are they not? And I'm judging it. Getting fat, right? Putting on weight, too much body fat, right? Sitting there judging it, instead of loving and appreciating this body for what it's doing, which is allowing me to be here. Nothing short of that, right? If I didn't have the body, I'd be disembodied. I'd be without one. And I'd be floating around somewhere, who knows what I'd be doing. Looking for a body.
I'm also okay with all my desires.
All right, so she said something very important here. I'm also okay with all my desires. I'm also okay with all my desires and my cravings. I'm also okay with myself. Isn't that a big one?
Okay there.
I'm okay with everything. That's even bigger. I'm okay with myself. Just try that on for a minute. See what it feels like.
Feels really good.
Doesn't it? I'm okay with myself and I'm okay with everyone else. What a relief. And I'm okay with myself, I'm okay with others. What does that mean I can stop doing? Trying to control everything, trying to fix it, trying to judge it.
Judge yourself.
Judge yourself. Escape. Oh God. Escape into what? Where are we always escaping to? Wherever we can. Right? Think about it, folks. What are the ways your particular thinking mind tries to escape? Into the future? What else? The past? What else?
Sleep.
Sleep?
Drugs.
Drugs?
Tequila.
Tequila?
That's a drug.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Tequila, drugs.
Exercise.
Exercise.
Philosophy.
Philosophy. Oh yeah, there's millions of escapes, and some of them we label good, and some we label bad, but they're just means of escape, rather than being okay with just who you are.
I have exponential freedom to love.
Did you hear what she said? I have exponential freedom to love. What an amazing thing. From this place as the apex, I have exponential freedom to love. And to what?
Be
loved. Be loved. Be loved.
And to give.
And to give. And what else? To receive.
Accept.
To accept. Right? I also have the potential, not even potential, I do appreciate. It's a big word. I do appreciate what?
Everything.
Yeah. What is this life? I do appreciate. I see this life as a gift.
I honor the process.
Okay, and I honor the process. And the process is a beautiful unfolding of this life, which is a mystery. And a gift.
Can I ask you a question as a thinker?
I'm going to allow it now.
Yeah, well, I got hung up when you said the apex didn't have preference. Or, because it seems like choosing when to let the thinker prevent you from having a bus hit you is a preference.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I see the apex does.
Okay, if we fall into, there's two things here that we need to say. One is that to have a preference, is already choosing this or this over the other, So we want to avoid that. Because if I have a preference for this over this, then I'm stuck. I'm here and I'm trying to get here, and that's what we're trying to avoid in sitting. However, if I have a preference for not having a preference, then I'm over here and I'm stuck here. See, this one has no preference.
So you can move freely between.
That's exactly right. That's the key. Now, think of a scale and think of the pointer on the scale. Now, if the pointer is stuck, in my case, at 173, which is ideal, right? All right, and it's stuck there, am I getting a true gauge of what I weigh? Only when I'm 173. So yeah, once in a while, like 4 years ago when I went through cancer, I was there. And the last time I was there, I was 15, or something like that. right? So yeah, I can hit that occasionally, like the stuck clock twice a day is right on. However, if the scale is free to move, then it's the truth. It's accurate.
That feels more playful too.
That's right.
Choices are playing.
That's right.
Let's see what it's like. Maybe even at some point we did want to see what it was like to totally give up preference.
Yeah, I did that for a long time. Yeah, it's very liberating. You can get stuck there too. I did. You can give up all preference and get stuck there, right? Or you can be caught up in preference and get stuck there. From this place, you don't get stuck in the idea of having no preference. Okay? It's true you have no preference for this or that, and you also have no preference for having no preference. That's very Zen.
It is in essence moving between death and life.
Okay.
It's death of the self. And
that's right. Death and life, existence and non-existence. Both are concepts. Both are concepts. Yes. Last one.
As a thinker, I guess I have another question. I got kind of stuck when you were talking about the voice power coming from the apex. That I can choose everything and I can write the script. And I guess I just got really hung up on that because it's like, there's a lot of things I would like to rewrite the script so there's no global warming, but that.
I'd like to rewrite the script.
So there's no global warming, but that doesn't happen.
No. Okay, you got to understand the difference between then and this starts a whole other subject. Okay, between a state experience and a stage experience. Okay, so I can identify with the greatest pianist in the world, but I sit down at the piano and I'm still me, and I have nothing to do with playing great music unless I put it on the stereo. What do you call them these days? I don't know. CD player. Yeah. Right? So I'm not going to be able to necessarily just flip global warming, but I can work towards it. I can unplug, my chargers every day and turn off my computer every day.
From a place of responsibility.
And from the place of responsibility. I can make a difference. It's baby steps, but I can. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.